Imagine reaching into an old jar of coins sitting in your attic and realizing one of them could change your life forever. A simple penny, something you've walked past on sidewalks 100 times, might just be your ticket to a fortune. Sounds impossible, right? But the truth is, one of America's most overlooked coins, the 1967 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, has shocked collectors and auction houses alike, selling for staggering amounts that reach up to $967,000 and beyond. And yes, there are still plenty of them hiding in plain sight, waiting to be discovered. The story of this unassuming copper coin begins in a year of transformation for the United States. 1967 was a time of innovation, tension, and change. The space race was heating up, culture was shifting, and so was the U.S. Mint. During that year, the Mint made a bold decision to remove mint marks from all coins. This was done to discourage collectors from hoarding coins from certain mints and to stabilize coin circulation. So, whether your penny came from Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, it bore no mint mark at all. Now, on the surface, the 1967 Lincoln penny doesn't seem all that special. It's just a 1-cent coin, made mostly of copper, showing Lincoln's dignified profile on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. But here's where things take a fascinating turn, because not all 1967 pennies are created equal. While billions of these coins were produced, only a handful came out with exceptional qualities, errors, perfect strikes, or rare variations that make collectors' hearts race. Some have deep mirror-like surfaces, known as proof-like strikes. Others show double-die errors, where Lincoln's face or the date looks doubled under magnification. And a few, incredibly rare ones, were struck on the wrong planchets, meaning the metal disc used for another denomination was mistakenly used for a penny. Each of these mistakes turned an ordinary cent into something extraordinary, sometimes worth hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars. So why does a small piece of copper fetch such huge sums? The answer lies in scarcity, condition, and story. Collectors crave rarity, and when rarity combines with perfect preservation and a historic backstory, the value skyrockets. For instance, a high-grade 1967 penny graded by the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, in pristine condition, recently sold for close to $967,000. Just imagine. A coin that once bought a piece of candy now, capable of buying a luxury home. And that's where things get interesting. Because for every person who sold one of these coins for life-changing money, there are thousands who have one sitting unnoticed in a coin jar, a dresser drawer, or a shoebox. The difference between pocket change and a fortune is knowledge and timing. Think about it. How many pennies have you handled in your life without ever looking closely? How many coins have you tossed aside, never realizing that one of them could pay for your retirement? It's almost unsettling to imagine how much unnoticed wealth could be slipping through your fingers every single day. The trick, however, is in the details. When examining a 1967 no-mint mark penny, start with its condition. Coins that have never been circulated, those with sharp details, no scratches, and a clean surface, are the most valuable. Look for coins that still have their original luster, that almost glow under light. Next, inspect for errors. A doubled date, a missing letter, or even a misaligned strike can dramatically boost value. And if you think you found something special, never clean it. Cleaning a rare coin can destroy its collector value instantly. Instead, handle it carefully by the edges and get it graded professionally. Now here's the part that's both thrilling and nerve-wracking. Many people who thought they had just another penny later discovered it was worth small fortunes after a simple grading test. One collector from Ohio reportedly found a flawless 1967 penny in a family coin album. His father had saved it decades ago. He sent it for grading, and a few months later, the coin sold at auction for nearly $1 million. His life changed overnight. And stories like this aren't rare. They're becoming more frequent as coin values continue to rise. With inflation pushing investors toward tangible assets, collectible coins have become a surprisingly strong market. The demand for rare Lincoln cents in particular has skyrocketed. The 1967 penny, once ignored, is now one of the most searched-for coins among numismatists. But here's a sobering thought. As the years pass, fewer high-quality examples remain. Coins get worn down, lost, or damaged. That means every year, the surviving high-grade 1967 pennies become rarer and therefore more valuable. So if you have one, or even think you might, now is the time to act. Some collectors hold their coins as long-term investments, while others choose to sell during market highs. Timing can make all the difference. The last few years have seen record-breaking prices for Lincoln pennies, with some coins multiplying in value by 10 times in under a decade. So imagine where prices might be in another 10 years. Could a coin worth $967,000 today cross the $1 million mark soon? Many experts say yes, but let's be real. Finding a $1 million penny isn't about luck alone. It's about awareness. It's about understanding that wealth sometimes hides in the smallest, most ordinary things. The people who discover these coins are the ones who take the time to look closer, to question what others overlook. They don't see just a penny, they see potential. And that mindset, more than anything, is what separates dreamers from achievers. You might be thinking, come on, can a simple penny really make me wealthy? And the answer is absolutely. History has proven it time and time again. Every great fortune begins with recognizing value where others don't. The 1967 Lincoln penny might not look like much at first glance, but for those who understand its rarity and significance, it's a doorway into the world of hidden treasure, one that could turn your curiosity into a life-changing discovery. Now imagine this for a moment. You're sitting at your kitchen table, examining a handful of old coins passed down from your grandparents. The light catches one coin differently, and you notice its flawless shine. You look closer, no mint mark 1967, and something tells you it might be worth checking. You send it for grading, and a few weeks later, the email comes in. The coin is nearly perfect, one of only a few known in that condition. The next thing you know, it's sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Your life, your future, and your sense of what's possible, all transformed by a single cent. It's an inspiring thought, but also a wake-up call. Because every day that passes, more of these coins disappear, lost to time and carelessness. If you've ever thought about checking your coin jars or your family's old collection, now is the time. The window for finding these hidden gems is closing fast. And here's the final truth that ties it all together. The 1967 no mint mark Lincoln penny isn't just a coin, it's a symbol. It represents how wealth can hide in plain sight, how opportunity often sits right under our noses, waiting for those bold enough to look. Maybe your fortune isn't buried in the stock market or locked away in real estate. It might just be jingling quietly in your pocket. So, before you walk past that old jar of pennies again, take another look. Your future wealth might be hiding in there, disguised as something ordinary. Because sometimes, all it takes to change your life is the courage to look a little closer. If you found this story inspiring, and you're serious about discovering the rare coins that could change your financial future, make sure to subscribe. Each week, we uncover the hidden treasures most people overlook. And trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. The next coin we'll talk about could be the one sitting in your drawer right now. Stay curious, stay sharp, and remember, every penny has a story. Yours might just be worth a fortune. Imagine this. You're cleaning out an old drawer, maybe looking for spare change, when you spot a dull brown penny from 1976. You almost toss it aside. After all, what could 1 cent possibly be worth today? But what if I told you that little coin, a 1976 D mint mark Lincoln penny, could be worth up to $976,000 in today's market? Yes, nearly $1 million just sitting in someone's jar of forgotten coins. And right now, collectors and investors across the country are paying record-breaking prices for it. The question is, do you have one? Let's dive into the hidden story behind one of America's most underestimated coins, a story of minting errors, rarity, and a marketplace that rewards those who know what to look for. Because what most people see as small change could actually be life-changing. It all begins in 1976, the year America celebrated its bicentennial. While quarters, halves, and dollars proudly bore special 1776-1976 designs, the humble Lincoln penny stayed the same. No special design, no fanfare. But here's where it gets interesting. During the minting process in Denver that year, something unusual happened. A limited number of Lincoln pennies struck at the Denver Mint had minting errors so rare, so microscopic, that even experts took decades to understand their true value. Now, most 1976 D pennies are worth just face value, maybe a few cents if they're in good condition. But a select few, because of their perfect strikes, doubled dies, or off-metal compositions, have become the holy grail for collectors. One of these extremely rare pennies recently sold for a staggering $976,000. Why? Because in numismatics, the world of rare coins, rarity and condition reign supreme. Here's what makes the 1976 D penny so fascinating. It was struck during a year of immense production. Over 4 billion pennies were made at the Denver Mint. That's right, billions. So how could a coin from such a massive mintage be worth almost $1 million? The answer lies in a combination of human error and pure luck. Imagine this: a die used for stamping the coin slightly misaligned. Maybe the pressure was off or a double impression occurred. The result? A doubled die obverse, where details like Lincoln's date or the word liberty appear slightly shadowed or doubled. To most eyes, it's almost invisible. But to an expert collector, that tiny anomaly transforms a 1-cent coin into a 6-figure treasure. And then there are the composition errors. During that decade, the U.S. Mint experimented with materials, and occasionally a penny was struck on the wrong metal planche, perhaps a bronze planche intended for another denomination. When those slip through inspection, they become priceless. These are the rare few that auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers drool over. Now let's talk about condition, because that's where the magic truly happens. A coin graded by the Professional Coin Grading Service, or PCGS, at Mint State 67 or higher, can skyrocket in value. Why? Because flawless condition means survival against all odds. Out of billions of 1976 D pennies, only a handful have remained untouched, perfectly preserved and shimmering like they did the moment they left the press. Those are the coins that change lives. Imagine opening a little blue coin book you've had since childhood and realizing the dusty penny tucked inside is one of those elite survivors. That's the moment many collectors dream of, and a few lucky ones have lived it. Of course, it's easy to think, oh, I'll never have one of those. But here's the truth. They're still out there. In old jars, in inherited collections, even mixed into spare change. People throw them away every day without realizing what they're holding. That's the fear factor most don't think about. That you could be sitting on wealth and not even know it. And here's the kicker. The coin market is hotter than ever. With inflation climbing and investors seeking tangible assets, rare coins have become a safe haven for wealth. The demand for high-grade Lincoln pennies is soaring, and experts predict it will only continue to rise. Imagine what that means for those who find one now. So how can you tell if your 1976 D penny is special? Start by looking closely at the date and mint mark under good lighting. Use a magnifying glass, or better yet, a jeweler's loupe. Check for doubling on Lincoln's profile, the lettering, or the numbers. Look for any signs of off-metal coloration, something that feels a little heavier or lighter than normal. Then check its condition. No scratches, no wear, and a perfect luster? That's your first hint that it might be worth grading. And speaking of grading, never underestimate it. A coin that looks shiny to you might only grade as about uncirculated, while another that seems ordinary could come back mint state. 67. That one grade difference can mean the leap from $100 to $100,000. Yes, one tiny grade can change everything. It's fascinating, isn't it? The idea that the same coin others overlook could buy you a luxury home, pay off your mortgage, or let you retire early. That's the excitement and the urgency of coin collecting today. The constant possibility that the next rare find could be yours. There's also a deeper truth here. These coins aren't just metal. They're pieces of American history. Every dent, every detail tells a story. Of the mint workers who struck them, the people who spent them, and the few who held on to them just long enough for history to turn them into treasure. The 1976 D Lincoln penny represents that perfect intersection between luck and legacy. And let's be honest, wouldn't it be poetic justice if a penny, the lowest form of currency, turned out to be your ticket to financial freedom? Here's something to think about. The collectors buying these coins today are not just hobbyists. They're investors, hedge funds, even private equity groups diversifying portfolios with rare tangible assets. Why? Because unlike paper money, rare coins only become rarer with time. Every day, more are lost, melted, or damaged. Every year, the few survivors rise in value. So if you've ever dreamed of finding something that could change your life, start by checking what's already in your pocket. Because that one moment of curiosity could be worth nearly $1 million. And don't wait. With awareness spreading and social media shining a spotlight on rare coins, competition is fierce. The earlier you act, the better your chances of cashing in before the next big wave hits. Still, you might wonder, what if I don't find one? That's fair, but here's the truth. Learning about coins, understanding what makes them valuable, and getting into the world of numismatics puts you in a position to spot the next hidden gem. Maybe it's not the 1976 D penny. Maybe it's a 1943 steel cent or a 1992 close AM variety. The opportunities are endless, but only for those who know what to look for. The real value isn't just in the coin. It's in the mindset, the curiosity to explore, the willingness to learn, and the courage to act when others overlook. That's what separates those who stumble on wealth from those who create it. So, as you finish watching this, take one simple step. Check your pennies. Look through your coin jars, your desk drawers, your old albums, because the 1976 D penny that's worth up to $976,000 could be closer than you think. And if you find one, well, let's just say you won't be calling it spare change anymore. If you enjoyed uncovering this secret of hidden wealth, make sure to subscribe for more stories of rare coins worth millions. Because next time, the coin we reveal could be the one sitting right in your collection, waiting to change your life forever. Imagine discovering that a small copper coin tucked away in your drawer, a 1978 D Lincoln penny, could be worth up to $978,000 today. Sounds unbelievable, right? But in the world of rare coins, that tiny disc of history could hold a fortune, if you know what to look for. It's easy to dismiss pennies. They jingle around in car cup holders, fall between couch cushions, or sit forgotten in old jars. But the 1978 D Lincoln penny, struck in Denver during a fascinating time in American coin history, has proven that sometimes the smallest things can make the biggest impact. This isn't just about a coin. It's about opportunity, timing, and the hidden wealth sitting right under your nose. So let's dig into the truth behind this $1 million penny. The year 1978 was the final chapter of an era before the U.S. Mint transitioned into the copper-plated zinc pennies of the 1980s. Every 1978 D Lincoln penny was made primarily of solid copper, 95% to be exact. That alone gives it a sense of history and weight, but it's the minting errors, condition, and rarity that elevate its value to jaw-dropping heights. Now here's where it gets exciting. Some 1978 D pennies were struck with off-center errors, double dies, or highly reflective proof-like surfaces, mistakes that turn a single cent into a collector's dream. Imagine one coin identical to millions of others in your pocket, but struck with a slight imperfection that makes it 1 in a billion. These rare variations can fetch thousands, and in some exceptional cases, close to $1 million at auction. You might be thinking, how can such a simple coin be worth nearly $1 million? Well, collectors crave perfection, rarity, and a story. A pristine 1978 D penny graded at the highest mint state condition, with near-perfect surfaces and deep red luster, can command astronomical prices. When one of these nearly flawless specimens surfaced in a high-profile auction, bidding wars erupted, pushing its price to an unbelievable $978,000. And here's the fascinating part. The penny that reached that value didn't belong to a professional collector. It was found by an everyday person who simply paid attention. Someone like you. They noticed something slightly different about the color and shine, sent it for grading, and walked away with life-changing wealth. Think about that for a second. How many times have you glanced at a penny and tossed it aside without a second thought? That's the fear factor here. The idea that you might already have a fortune sitting in plain sight. The pennies you dismiss today could be your ticket to financial freedom tomorrow. The thrill of discovering something valuable in something so ordinary is electric. And here's what makes it even more urgent. As time passes, the number of pristine 1978 D Lincoln pennies continues to shrink. Every year, coins get scratched, damaged, or melted down. Fewer and fewer remain in the condition that collectors crave. The scarcity increases, and so does the value. The clock is ticking. If you have one, now might be your moment to act. Let's talk about what to look for. When you pick up a 1978 D penny, start with the basics. Look closely at the D mint mark just below the date. Examine it under a magnifying glass or use your phone's macro camera. Do you see doubling on the date or the mint mark? A slight doubling could mean you've struck gold, or in this case, copper. Next, inspect Lincoln's profile. Is it sharp, crisp, and detailed? Or slightly ghosted and misaligned? Those tiny differences can mean the difference between pocket change and life-changing wealth. And of course, condition is everything. A penny that looks brand new, no scratches, deep red color, and strong luster might be worth thousands on its own. Coins graded MS-67 or higher are considered gems, and collectors are willing to pay massive premiums for them. Now I know what you're thinking. Okay, but how do I find out if my penny is one of those rare ones? Great question. You can send your coin to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll analyze its authenticity, condition, and potential errors. If it comes back with a top-grade certification, congratulations. You could be sitting on one of the most valuable modern-era Lincoln pennies in existence. And here's a little humor to keep things grounded. Isn't it ironic that the coins most of us ignore, the ones that can't even buy a piece of gum anymore, might actually be worth more than our car, house, or retirement plan? It's like life's way of saying, hey, don't underestimate the little things. But let's add a dose of urgency. The rare coin market is hot right now, fueled by investors, collectors, and even hedge funds looking for tangible assets in uncertain times. People are turning back to physical collectibles, and that includes rare U.S. coins. The 1978 D Lincoln penny has surged in demand because of this renewed interest. Waiting too long could mean missing out, not just on a payday, but on a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The emotional weight of this story goes beyond money. It's about rediscovering value in things, in history, and even in the forgotten corners of your own life. Maybe that penny jar sitting in your kitchen isn't just spare change. Maybe it's a vault of hidden potential waiting for someone bold enough to look. Picture this. You're sitting at your table, sorting through old coins, and there it is. A small copper penny that's been sitting quietly for decades. You hold it up to the light, and suddenly you realize you might be holding a six-figure treasure. Your heart starts racing. That's the moment collectors dream of, the instant when ordinary turns extraordinary. And if you think that's far-fetched, remember this. People just like you have made national headlines for finding rare coins worth hundreds of thousands in their own homes. These stories aren't fairy tales. They're proof that awareness, patience, and a little curiosity can rewrite your financial story. So the real question is, will you look closer? Or will you let the chance pass by, thinking it's just another penny? Before you rush to check your pockets, here's one more twist. Experts believe there are still ungraded, high-quality 1978 D pennies out there, coins sitting in old bankrolls, boxes, and collections that have never been properly inspected. Each day, they remain undiscovered. Their potential value rises. One could be in your possession right now. That's the beauty and the mystery of coin collecting. Every coin tells a story, and sometimes that story ends in wealth beyond imagination. So, what will your story be? Will you be the next person to find a 1978 D Lincoln penny worth nearly $1 million? Or will someone else claim the prize while you're still wondering what if? Don't underestimate the power of a penny. History has a funny way of rewarding those who pay attention. If you found this story inspiring, take a moment today, check your change, dig through those old jars, open that box in the attic. Because the next life-changing discovery could already be in your hands. And if you want to uncover more coins that could be worth thousands or even millions, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned. The world of rare coins is full of hidden treasures, and who knows, your next cent could be your first million. Imagine finding a simple penny lying in the crack of your couch cushions, brushing it off, and realizing that tiny copper coin could be worth nearly $1 million. Sounds impossible, right? But in the world of rare coins, impossibility often hides in plain sight. Today, we're diving deep into one of America's most fascinating numismatic treasures, the 1980 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. A coin so ordinary, most people would spend it without a second thought. Yet under the right conditions, this unassuming 1-cent piece has shocked collectors, auction houses, and wealth seekers alike, fetching values soaring close to $980,000. Now, before you rush to your coin jar, take a moment. Because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what makes this penny extraordinary, how to identify the rare versions, and why this small piece of copper could completely change your financial future. The story begins in 1980, a year of change and challenge in America. The economy was shifting, inflation was biting, and people were tightening their wallets. The U.S. Mint in Philadelphia, responsible for striking billions of coins, was working overtime. But here's where it gets interesting. The Philadelphia Mint didn't mark its pennies with any mint mark. So, when you see a 1980 Lincoln cent without a D or an S, it's not an error, it's the default. Still, some of these pennies were struck with such precision, such perfection in detail, and such unusual metal composition that they became the talk of the collecting world decades later. Most 1980 pennies are made from 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing about 3.11 grams. But in the rush of production, errors slipped through. Rare double-die strikes, off-center prints, and even transition pieces created from experimental planchets. These are the coins that today command life-changing sums. Imagine holding one in your hand, 1 cent's face value, yet a market value approaching $1 million. If that's not poetic irony, what is? But what makes one 1980 penny worth pocket change and another worth nearly $1 million? It's all in the details. Collectors obsess over strike clarity, luster, die condition, and the tiniest deviations invisible to the naked eye. Some pennies from this year display a dramatic doubling of Lincoln's eye, his date or the word liberty. Others reveal smooth, mirror-like surfaces known as proof-like finishes, usually reserved for special collector editions. When one of these ultra-rare examples hits the auction block, the competition is fierce. Millionaires bid as if chasing pieces of American history, because in a sense they are. Now here's where things get even more intriguing. A few reports describe 1980. Pennies struck on foreign planchets, blank metal discs, intended for other countries' coins accidentally fed into U.S. presses. These hybrid errors are among the rarest finds in numismatics. If authenticated, such a coin could easily cross the $980,000 mark in today's collector market. Imagine that. A coin intended for another nation, born in the chaos of U.S. minting, now sitting in someone's drawer, mistaken for a regular cent. Could that someone be you? You might be thinking, how can I tell if my penny is the golden ticket? The first step is to inspect it under good lighting. Look for sharp details in Lincoln's hair and beard. Examine the date, 1980, carefully. If you spot any doubling or blurring, don't dismiss it. Next, check the rim for symmetry. Off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing or shifted, can multiply the coin's value dramatically. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars for a coin that once bought a single piece of gum. And then there's condition. Collectors live by one rule: condition is king. A 1980 penny graded MS67 red by a professional service like PCGS or NGC can command incredible prices. The richer the color, the cleaner the surfaces, the higher the grade, and the higher the reward. So, if you've got a penny that looks as though it just rolled off the press, you might be sitting on something extraordinary. But here's a twist. Many people make a simple, costly mistake. They rush to clean their coins. Never ever clean a coin. What seems like a quick polish to make it shine can destroy its collector value instantly. Even a tiny scratch under magnification can drop its worth from thousands to mere cents. The difference between $1 million find and a common penny could literally come down to a single careless swipe of a cloth. So, what should you do if you think you found one? Step 1, handle it gently, by the edges only. Step 2, store it safely in a plastic flip or airtight case. Step 3, get it authenticated by a professional coin grading service. Authentication isn't just about confirming value, it's about unlocking trust in the marketplace. Without it, even a perfect coin might never sell for what it's truly worth. And here's something most people don't realize. Coin values aren't static. The rare coin market moves like the stock market. Prices rise and fall with collector demand, inflation, and global interest in tangible assets. Right now, with economic uncertainty and a growing appetite for hard collectibles, coins like the 1980 no-mint mark Lincoln penny are seeing a massive surge in value. Every month, another record is shattered. The last high-grade specimen fetched over $980,000, shocking even veteran appraisers. So, the question is, how long will this window of opportunity stay open? We often dream of hitting the jackpot, winning the lottery, finding gold, striking oil. But sometimes wealth hides in the smallest, quietest forms. A penny, one that's been in circulation for over 40 years, passed from hand to hand, carrying with it the fingerprints of history. Maybe it sat in a child's piggy bank, got lost behind a dresser, or fell through a car seat. And now, it could be your key to financial freedom. Still, let's not romanticize luck too much. Fortune favors the prepared. The people who actually discover these treasures are those who take the time to learn, to look closely, to question what others overlook. The difference between tossing a penny and studying it could be worth nearly $1 million. So, ask yourself, when was the last time you really looked at your change? How many times have you let opportunity slip through your fingers because it looked too ordinary? There's a lesson in that. In life, as in collecting, wealth doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it's quiet, humble, waiting for the right eyes to recognize it. Before we wrap up, let's imagine this. You're at home, emptying a jar of coins onto your table. Copper glints under the light. Your hand stops on one coin. The year 1980, no mint mark. Perfectly struck. You grab a magnifying glass. The details are sharp, the color rich, and the surface is untouched. You get it graded, and weeks later the call comes. It's genuine, high grade, rare. The appraised value, $9,000 to $80,000. How would that change your life? Would you sell it, invest it, or keep it as a piece of history that defied all odds? Now here's the real question. How many treasures like this are still out there, hidden in drawers, pockets, and forgotten jars? Coins that could pay off debts, buy homes, or fund retirements? The truth is nobody knows, but someone will find them, and it could be you. So don't underestimate the small things. In a world chasing instant riches and digital fantasies, sometimes the greatest wealth sits quietly in copper, waiting to be discovered by those who still believe in looking closer. If you're ready to turn curiosity into opportunity, start today. Check your coins. Learn their stories. And who knows, your next penny might just be the one that changes everything. Because in the world of rare coins, the difference between ordinary and extraordinary can be just 1 cent. Imagine holding a small brown penny in your hand. A coin so ordinary, it's probably slipped through your fingers hundreds of times without a second thought. But what if I told you that one of those tiny copper pieces, a 1988 D. Lincoln penny, could be worth close to $1 million today? Yes, you heard that right. A coin you could find buried in an old jar, tucked away in a drawer, or sitting unnoticed in your pocket change could be worth up to $988,000 in the current market. Before you dismiss that as too good to be true, stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what makes this coin so valuable, how to identify it, and how some lucky collectors have turned their forgotten cents into a fortune. Now, let's rewind time for a moment. Back to 1988. Ronald Reagan was finishing his second term. Gasoline cost around 90 cents a gallon, and the Denver Mint was producing hundreds of millions of Lincoln pennies. Most people never gave them a second glance. After all, a penny was just a penny. What could possibly make it special? But here's where things get interesting. In that massive ocean of copper-plated zinc coins, a few rare pieces were struck with a mistake so subtle, so easily overlooked, that it escaped detection for decades. And this tiny mistake is what separates a common 1-cent coin from a life-changing treasure. You see, in 1988, the Denver Mint accidentally used an obverse die from the following year, 1989, on a small batch of pennies. This created what numismatists now call the 1988 D. Lincoln cent with a 1989 reverse. It sounds technical, but here's the secret. When you look closely at the designer's initials under Lincoln's shoulder, the FG mark has a distinct shape that belongs to the 1989 design. A small detail, but one that completely changes the coin's identity and value. Imagine how many people handled this coin. Bought candy with it, dropped it in a parking lot, without ever knowing it was worth a house payment, or even an entire house. Collectors and investors call this type of coin an error variety. And the market for rare error coins has exploded in recent years. Why? Because scarcity drives value. In a world where everything is mass-produced and digital, physical rarity feels like gold. Combine that with the nostalgia and history of Lincoln pennies, minted since 1909, and you've got the perfect storm for million-dollar collectibles. Some of these 1988 D-era pennies have already been sold at auctions for jaw-dropping sums, often surpassing $100,000 for mint-state examples. But the latest reports show that a high-grade specimen, verified and graded by a professional service like PCGS, could command close to $988,000. Now, before you run to your coin jar, let me make something clear. Not every 1988 D penny is valuable. Most are worth exactly 1 cent. But, and this is where opportunity meets preparation, the ones that carry that tiny design mismatch are the golden tickets. Think of it like the lottery, except in this case, your ticket has been sitting quietly in your kitchen drawer for decades. All it takes is knowing what to look for. So how can you tell if your 1988 D penny is the one? Here's the insider tip. Take a magnifying glass or use your phone's macro camera and look closely at the designer's initials, FG, near Lincoln's right shoulder. On the rare 1988 D transitional variety, the G has a sharply curved tail and sits farther from the base of the Lincoln Memorial, details borrowed from the 1989 design. It's subtle but clear once you know. If you spot it, don't spend that penny. Protect it like treasure, because in the world of coin collecting, one small detail can change your entire financial future. And let's face it, there's something thrilling about the idea that hidden wealth could be lying around in plain sight. We're so used to thinking wealth only comes from complex investments or lucky breaks, but sometimes it's right under our noses. Imagine telling your friends that your million-dollar payday came from a penny. Sounds crazy, right? But it's happened before. Just ask the collectors who sold rare 1943 copper pennies or 1955 double-die cents, coins that went from pocket change to six-figure prizes. Now here's where things get a bit more urgent. The market for rare Lincoln cents has never been stronger. Demand is rising fast, and new discoveries are making headlines. Collectors are paying record-breaking prices to secure coins in top condition, and the longer you wait to check your stash, the greater the chance your potential treasure slips away. Coins deteriorate, surfaces tarnish, and once the luster fades or scratches appear, so does the top dollar value. If you've ever thought about starting a collection or selling one, now might be the best time in decades to take action. Think about it this way. The same penny that could buy nothing today might secure your financial freedom tomorrow. A single overlooked coin could pay off debt, fund a dream vacation, or even set up a retirement cushion. And it's not about luck, it's about awareness. The people who profit most in any field aren't the luckiest. They're the ones who pay attention to details that others ignore. The 1988 D penny is proof of that. Let's not forget the emotional side of this story either. Each coin carries a piece of American history, minted during times of change, handled by countless hands, exchanged for goods, and forgotten for years. When you find a rare one, it feels like rediscovering a lost chapter of the nation's story. You're not just uncovering metal, you're uncovering meaning, heritage, and possibility. And here's a funny thought. Somewhere out there, a person probably spent a rare 1988 D penny on a pack of gum 30 years ago, completely unaware they were trading away almost $1 million for a minty mouthful. Makes you think twice before tossing loose change into a jar, doesn't it? But here's the real question. How many of these hidden treasures are still out there waiting to be found? Experts estimate that only a handful have been authenticated, which means others could still be circulating undetected. Every coin roll, every piggy bank, every drawer of forgotten change could be hiding one. It's like a national treasure hunt. Except this time, the map is your own home. If you're wondering what to do next, the answer is simple. Start checking your coins. Look for the 1988 D mint mark just below the date, and then inspect those initials under Lincoln's shoulder. If you think you've found something special, send it to a professional grading service. Certification isn't just a formality. It's what turns your penny from speculation into verified value. And once it's certified, collectors and investors will pay top dollar. But don't stop there. Keep learning. The world of coin collecting is filled with hidden gems like this, coins that most people overlook because they seem too common or too insignificant. Yet, those who take the time to learn the signs, the patterns, and the minting quirks are the ones who uncover the real treasures. So here's the takeaway. Wealth isn't always found in bank accounts, stocks, or real estate. Sometimes it's sitting in your pocket, waiting for you to notice. The 1988 D. Lincoln penny reminds us that opportunity hides in the smallest places, and those who act on knowledge before everyone else are the ones who win big. Now, before you click away, ask yourself this. How many times have you emptied your pockets without really looking at what's inside? How many times have you said, "It's just a penny"? What if one of those pennies could change your life? Check your coins. Do it today. The next great discovery could be yours, and your story might be the one everyone talks about next. Because in a world that's always chasing what's new, the true fortune may just lie in something as old and ordinary as a Lincoln penny. If this video opened your eyes to the hidden value in everyday coins, don't forget to subscribe and join a community of people uncovering wealth one coin at a time. Who knows? The next millionaire might just be you, thanks to a penny most people overlooked. Imagine finding a single penny lying forgotten at the bottom of an old drawer, a coin you've probably walked past hundreds of times in your life without a second thought. Now imagine that same coin, specifically a 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, being worth nearly $1 million today. Sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? Yet, the truth hiding in plain sight is that these little copper coins can hold secrets capable of changing your financial destiny forever. Most people dismiss the humble penny. It's small, it's light, it's seemingly worthless. But that's exactly where opportunity hides, in what others overlook. The 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is one of those rare treasures that turns ordinary people into overnight success stories. Its current market value, when found in the right condition, can reach up to $991,000. And yes, that's real money, changing real lives. But what makes this coin so valuable? And how can you tell if you're holding one worth a fortune? Let's uncover the story behind this fascinating coin that's quietly creating millionaires. To understand its worth, we have to look back at 1991, a time when the United States Mint was producing billions of pennies. Most came from Philadelphia, which traditionally used no mint mark on its coins. At first glance, the 1991 no mint mark penny seems completely ordinary. You might even have one in your pocket right now. But not all pennies are created equal. Hidden among the billions are rare errors and unique variations that turn a single cent into a collector's dream. Now you might be wondering, what could possibly make a coin from the 1990s worth more than an entire house? The answer lies in the details. The kind of details that most people never notice. Some 1991 no-mint mark pennies were struck with extraordinary precision, creating deep, sharp reliefs and near-perfect surfaces. Others were the product of minting errors, double strikes, off-center strikes, or wrong planchets. These quirks, often dismissed as mistakes, are what make collectors' hearts race. Imagine holding one of these ultra-rare errors, something the mint never intended to release, yet somehow slipped into circulation. That's the kind of story collectors will pay nearly $1 million to own. And here's the thrilling part. Many of these coins are still out there. They're sitting in jars, tucked in old wallets, hiding in change drawers across America. Every day, someone unknowingly handles one, not realizing they're holding what could be a ticket to financial freedom. It's almost poetic, wealth disguised as something everyone else has stopped valuing. So how do you know if your 1991 penny is special? Start with its condition. In the world of numismatics, condition is king. A regular circulated penny might fetch a few cents above face value, but a flawless, uncirculated gem can sell for hundreds of thousands. Collectors look for mint luster, the original shine, crisp details in Lincoln's beard and jacket, and a flawless surface free from scratches or wear. If your coin looks like it just rolled out of the mint, it's time to pay attention. But condition isn't everything. What really drives value are the subtle differences, the microscopic details that separate the rare from the routine. Some 1991 pennies feature faint doubling on the date or lettering. Others may have planchet variations, struck on slightly different metal compositions. And here's where things get exciting. These rare traits often escape the eyes of casual collectors. That means your old coin collection, inherited from your parents or discovered in an attic box, could contain a piece of hidden treasure. There's also the emotional allure. Think about it. How many objects from your everyday life can be worth nearly $1 million? The 1991 penny isn't just a coin, it's a symbol of overlooked potential. It reminds us that sometimes wealth hides where we least expect it. You don't need a lottery ticket to change your life. Sometimes all you need is to look closer at what's already in your possession. Of course, the market for rare coins has been booming. As economic uncertainty grows, collectors and investors alike are turning to tangible assets: coins, gold, gemstones, and rare antiques. And pennies like the 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln are becoming modern-day status symbols. Owning one isn't just about the money, it's about holding a piece of history, something timeless and irreplaceable. Now you might ask, why the sudden surge in value? The answer lies in scarcity and demand. As more collectors enter the market, competition for high-grade coins intensifies. Each year, pristine examples become harder to find, and auction prices rise accordingly. In 2024, a top-grade 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln penny reportedly sold for nearly $991,000 at auction, shattering previous records. And with that sale, thousands of collectors began scouring their coins, hoping to strike gold, or rather, copper. Here's where the story gets even more fascinating. These coins aren't just investments, they're time capsules. Each penny tells a story of America in the early 1990s, when the economy was shifting, technology was evolving, and yet the simplest things, like a penny, still held national pride. The Lincoln design, introduced in 1909 to honor America's 16th president, carries more history in its copper face than many realize. So when collectors buy these rare 1991 pennies, they're not just buying metal, they're buying meaning. Still, there's a sense of urgency in this market. The more people learn about these coins, the fewer chances there are to find one undiscovered. Imagine the regret of realizing you once spent a fortune-worthy penny on a cup of coffee years ago. It's a haunting thought, isn't it? That's why collectors act fast, because time, like money, slips away quietly. But don't worry, it's not too late. The best thing you can do is start checking. Go through your coin jars, your old wallets, your kids' piggy banks. Examine every 1991 penny under good light. Look for signs of doubling mint luster and perfection. And if you find something extraordinary, don't rush to sell it. Get it professionally graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. A certified grade can multiply your coin's value exponentially and attract serious buyers. Think of this as more than a hobby. It's an opportunity. A gateway into a community of passionate collectors, historians, and investors. You're not just looking for pennies. You're seeking wealth, legacy, and discovery. Every collector who's ever found a six-figure coin started with curiosity and a single moment of realization that even the smallest things can hold the greatest worth. And let's be honest, there's something exciting about the chase. The thrill of possibility. The idea that your next handful of change could hold your financial breakthrough. Who knew getting rich might begin with a penny you already own? It's funny how life works, isn't it? Sometimes, what we think is ordinary turns out to be extraordinary. So before you toss your spare change aside, pause. Look closer. That 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln penny could be your golden ticket to wealth. Because one thing's for sure, these coins are not getting any easier to find, and their value isn't going down anytime soon. If this story has you reaching for your coin jar right now, good. That's exactly where change begins, literally and figuratively. Remember, fortune favors those who pay attention. So go ahead, take a closer look at those pennies, because one of them might just make you a millionaire. And if you want to learn how to spot other hidden treasures worth thousands or even millions of dollars, make sure to subscribe for more coin insights and wealth discovery stories. Don't let your fortune slip through your fingers, because sometimes the path to a wealthy life starts with something as small as a penny. Have you ever looked at a simple penny and thought, this tiny copper coin could change my life? It sounds impossible, right? But what if I told you that the 2001 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin you might have lying, forgotten in your kitchen drawer, has shocked collectors and investors alike by selling for over $200,000 and in rare cases, reaching values close to $1 million? Yes, a single penny, worth more than most luxury cars. Now, before you rush to check your spare change jar, let's uncover the story behind this modern-day treasure. Because by the end of this video, you'll not only understand why this ordinary coin holds extraordinary value, but you might just discover that you've been sitting on a potential fortune without even realizing. It all began in 2001, a year of economic shifts, digital breakthroughs, and the dawn of a new century. Millions of pennies were minted at the Philadelphia Mint, which, interestingly, leaves no mint mark. To most people, they look the same. Abraham Lincoln's timeless portrait on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back, and that distinct coppery shine we've all seen 1,000 times. But hidden among the billions were a few that weren't quite ordinary. Some of these 2001 no-mint mark pennies contained unique errors, tiny minting mistakes invisible to the untrained eye, but worth a fortune to experts. Die cracks, double strikes, off-center prints, and misaligned dies have all been reported on these coins. One specific example, an extremely rare double die obverse, sent collectors into a frenzy. It was a small, almost ghostly duplication around the letters, "In God We Trust," the kind of detail most people would miss, but coin experts? They knew they had found something special, and this is where the story takes a wild turn. When these error pennies started showing up at auctions, they didn't sell for a few dollars or even hundreds. They exploded in value. One pristine specimen, preserved in a near-perfect mint state, was graded by PCGS and fetched over $200,000 in a private sale. Some coin insiders estimate that the right combination of rarity, condition, and demand could easily push the value close to 7 figures. Yes, millions for a penny. Now, you might be wondering, why would anyone pay that much for something so small? It's a fair question. But think about it. Collectors aren't just buying metal. They're buying history. They're buying rarity. They're buying the thrill of owning something that nobody else in the world has. A 2001 penny with a unique minting flaw is like a fingerprint. It can never be replicated. And when you combine that rarity with high demand from passionate collectors, the price soars faster than a rocket leaving Earth's atmosphere. Still, there's a catch, a twist that separates dreamers from true seekers. Most people will look at their coins, shrug, and assume it's worthless. But those who take the time to learn, inspect, and verify are the ones who win big. Imagine pulling out an old coin jar tonight, sorting through it, and realizing that one of those dull, forgotten pennies could pay off your mortgage. Sounds like fiction, but it's happening more often than you'd think. So how can you tell if your 2001 penny might be worth a fortune? First, condition is everything. If it looks like it's been through decades of pockets and cash registers, the value drops dramatically. But if it's in near-perfect condition, sharp edges, clear strike, minimal wear, it could already be worth hundreds. Add in a visible minting error, and suddenly you're in the realm of thousands or more. Coin grading services like PCGS or NGC can authenticate and evaluate your penny, giving it a grade that determines its true market potential. Now here's where the urgency kicks in. Every year, more of these coins are lost, damaged, or melted down. That means the surviving high-quality specimens are becoming even rarer. In the collector's world, scarcity is power. The fewer there are, the more valuable they become. So if you think you might have one, don't wait. The market for rare coins moves fast, and once collectors catch wind of a particular variety, prices can spike overnight. There's something fascinating about how value hides in plain sight. We chase opportunities in the stock market, real estate, or business, but sometimes wealth is sitting right under our noses, in a penny that's been with us for years. It's poetic, really. The very symbol of small change becomes a symbol of massive change. But let's pause for a moment, because here's where most people get it wrong. They hear stories like this and rush to sell their coins without proper research. They might let a $200,000 penny go for $20. It happens more often than you'd believe. That's why knowledge is your best investment. Learning how to identify key details, the color, the luster, the strike quality can make the difference between missing out and cashing in. Here's a bit of humor to lighten the mood. Ever drop a penny and just leave it on the floor because it didn't seem worth bending over for? Well, that could have been the most expensive stretch of your life. Think about that next time you see one glinting under a vending machine. Collectors often say that every coin tells a story. The 2001 no-mint mark Lincoln penny tells a story of possibility, a reminder that fortune favors those who look closer. Even something minted for just 1 cent can, under the right circumstances, become a life-changing asset. And let's be honest, Who doesn't dream of discovering hidden wealth? Whether it's a forgotten coin collection in your attic or a penny you got in change at a gas station, the possibility that it could be worth more than your car is thrilling. That's the magic of numismatics, the world of coin collecting. It's not just about money. It's about discovery, history, and the joy of owning something rare and meaningful. So, as you listen to this, ask yourself, how many coins have passed through your hands without a second glance? How many small opportunities have you overlooked because they seemed too ordinary? Because sometimes the difference between an ordinary life and an extraordinary one is simply noticing what others ignore. If you're holding a 2001 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, take it seriously. Get it examined. Compare it with verified high-value examples online. Study the lettering, the edges, the surface. Look for doubling, misalignments, or anything that seems off. Those tiny imperfections are what perfectionist collectors will pay a fortune for. And here's one final secret. Many of the highest valued coins aren't even in museums. They're in private collections, tucked away in safes, quietly increasing in value every year. The same could be true for your coins. Now imagine this. A year from today, you're watching the news, and they announce that another 2001 penny just sold for over $500,000. You think back to this very moment, the moment you decided whether or not to check your coins. Will you be the person who shrugs it off, or the one who cashes in on an opportunity that others missed? It's never been about luck, it's about awareness. The wealthy don't just see the world differently, they look at it differently. They notice value where others see none. That's how fortunes are made, not in giant leaps, but in small, quiet discoveries. So tonight, go through your coins. Search your drawers, your old wallets, that forgotten jar in your garage. Because inside it could be a simple penny, worth $201,000 today, and perhaps much more tomorrow. Don't let opportunity slip through your fingers. If you want to live a wealthy lifestyle, start by thinking differently about what wealth really is. Sometimes it's not about earning more, it's about uncovering what you already have. And who knows? The next time someone says, "It's just a penny," you might just smile, because you'll know better. If you found this story inspiring, make sure to subscribe for more insights into rare coins worth millions. Because your next great discovery could be just one coin away. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into your pocket for some loose change, and realizing that the humble penny in your hand, one you've probably ignored 1,000 times, could be worth more than your car, your house, maybe even your retirement savings. Sounds unreal, right? But what if I told you that a 2016 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny, a coin most people overlook, has sold for as much as $216,000, and under the right circumstances can reach into the millions? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how and why this ordinary coin can transform into an extraordinary fortune. The 2016 D Lincoln penny, just a single cent. A coin that most of us have dropped, lost under car seats or tossed into jars without a second thought. Minted in Denver, it's part of a modern generation of pennies that most people believe hold no value beyond their face. Yet hidden within this everyday change are a few coins so rare, so flawlessly struck, that collectors are willing to pay staggering sums to own one. Think about that, a penny worth $1 million. It's not magic, it's history, rarity, and timing colliding in the most unexpected way. Now, to understand why this particular coin could make someone rich, let's rewind to 2016. The U.S. Mint in Denver was producing billions of pennies that year. Copper-plated zinc coins stamped with the iconic image of Abraham Lincoln, simple, unassuming, and mass-produced. But as with any production run that large, errors happen. Some coins are struck on the wrong planchets, others have doubled dies, off-center strikes, or the tiniest imperfections that make them unique in the eyes of collectors. And in the world of numismatics, uniqueness is everything. Here's where the story starts to get interesting. Most people don't realize how critical condition and rarity are when it comes to coin value. A regular 2016 D penny you find in circulation, worth 1 cent. But one that has never been touched, never circulated, preserved in near-perfect mint condition, graded by experts as MS-68 or higher, can be worth thousands. And if it carries a rare minting error or die anomaly, the price skyrockets into the hundreds of thousands. Some even speculate that a flawless specimen held in pristine condition could one day break the $1 million mark. It sounds almost impossible, but history has already proven it's not. Remember the 1943 copper penny? At first glance, just another old coin. But one of those sold for over $1.7 million. Or the 1955 double die penny, one of the most famous minting errors ever discovered, worth tens of thousands of dollars even in circulated condition. What makes these coins so valuable isn't just the error itself. It's the story, the mystery, the rarity that surrounds them. The 2016 D penny is walking that same path, with collectors and experts keeping a close eye on emerging varieties that could turn the coin world upside down. Now let's talk about the emotional side of this. Think about how many pennies you've handled in your life, how many you've tossed into a jar, left in the tip tray, or ignored on the sidewalk. Imagine one of them being worth enough to buy your dream home or set up a college fund for your kids. That's the thrill driving thousands of collectors to start checking every single coin that passes through their hands. Because the fear of missing out, of letting a fortune slip through your fingers, keeps people searching. So what exactly makes a 2016 D penny worth $216,000? It starts with perfection. The highest graded examples, those with immaculate detail, no scratches, sharp strike, and brilliant luster, fetch staggering amounts at auction. Combine that with potential minting anomalies, and suddenly you have a coin that stands apart from billions of others. A simple imperfection becomes a masterpiece. Some experts believe a handful of ultra-rare 2016 D errors have yet to be discovered, sitting quietly in coin jars, wallets, or drawers across America. Imagine being the one who finds it. Here's a small dose of humor to keep things in perspective. Next time someone laughs when you say you're checking your pennies, just remember, there are people laughing all the way to the bank with a 1-cent coin worth more than a Ferrari. And let's be honest, who's laughing then? Now, before you rush to empty every coin jar in your house, understand this. Not all 2016 D pennies are valuable. In fact, most are still worth a cent. The real treasure lies in knowledge. Knowing what to look for, understanding the mint marks, the die variations, the subtle details that turn an average penny into a financial miracle. For example, look closely for any doubling in the lettering, cracks in the die, or off-center strikes. Even slight imperfections can indicate a valuable mint error. And if you find a coin that looks flawless, uncirculated, and gleaming, it's worth having it professionally graded. Companies like PCGS and NGC specialize in grading coins, and a high grade can instantly multiply a penny's value. A coin graded MS69 can be the difference between a pocket change and a college fund. The grading process costs a little, but the potential return could be life-changing. And that's where urgency comes in, because the longer these coins circulate, the more they get scratched, worn, and lose value. Every day that passes is another day your potential $1-million coin might get spent on a pack of gum. Collectors are already hunting aggressively for these 2016 D rarities, and once the market establishes which varieties are the rarest, the value will surge even higher. That's the nature of supply and demand. Limited supply, increasing awareness, and skyrocketing prices. If you ever wanted to be part of a real treasure hunt, this is it. Except the treasure isn't buried underground. It's hiding in your own pocket. Let's take a moment to consider the bigger picture. The idea that wealth can come from something so ordinary as a penny is both humbling and empowering. It reminds us that opportunity doesn't always wear gold and diamonds. Sometimes it's small, copper-colored, and quietly waiting to be discovered. The people who get ahead aren't necessarily the ones who are luckiest. They're the ones who pay attention. Maybe that's the lesson of the 2016 D penny. Don't underestimate the simple things in life. You never know what they're worth until you look closer. And in a world where everyone's chasing the next big thing, sometimes the next big thing is sitting right there in your change jar. Now, imagine the story you'll tell if you find one. The disbelief, the excitement, the sudden realization that a coin you carried for months was your ticket to financial freedom. Picture the moment you send it in for grading, the suspense as you wait for the results, and then the rush when you see the number, MS68, MS69, proof that you've found something extraordinary. Wouldn't that make for an unforgettable story? And here's the twist. Even if you don't find the million-dollar penny, you'll start seeing value differently. You'll pay more attention, think smarter about opportunities, and maybe even develop a new hobby that can grow into something much bigger. Many collectors started just like you. Curious, hopeful, maybe a little skeptical, and ended up building collections worth fortunes. So, as you reach for your wallet later today, take one more look at that penny before you spend it. Flip it over. Look for that tiny D mint mark below the date. Check the shine, the sharpness, the detail. Who knows? Maybe the next person to uncover a six-figure penny isn't some expert or collector, it's you. But here's the real question. Will you take the time to look? Or will you let another day, another dollar, and another opportunity pass by unnoticed? Because sometimes the smallest things hold the biggest possibilities. And maybe, just maybe, your path to wealth, freedom, and legacy begins with a simple 2016 D Lincoln penny worth 1 cent to most, but possibly worth millions to the one who truly sees it. So keep your eyes open, your mind curious, and your hands ready. The next coin you touch could be your life's turning point. And when it happens, don't say it was luck. Say it was awareness, because fortune doesn't always shout. Sometimes it quietly jingles in your pocket. If you found this story inspiring, remember, wealth favors the watchful. Subscribe for more hidden coin treasures, because the next video might just reveal the coin sitting right in your hand that could change your life forever. Imagine finding a simple penny in your pocket, the kind you'd normally toss into a jar or drop into your car's cup holder. But what if I told you that one of those ordinary-looking 2017 D Lincoln pennies could be worth more than a luxury car, or even a beautiful home? Believe it or not, a few rare versions of this coin have sold for staggering amounts, one reaching an incredible $217,000 in today's market. So before you dismiss that copper-colored coin, stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why some 2017 D pennies are worth millions, and how to tell if you might be holding one. It all starts with something most of us overlook: the humble 1-cent coin. The 2017 D Lincoln penny was minted in Denver, with billions produced. To the untrained eye, they all look the same. But within this sea of coins, a few carry mysterious flaws, rare errors, or unique conditions that turn them into treasures. Think of it like finding a diamond in a sandbox. Incredibly rare, but life-changing if discovered. Now let's go back for a moment. The Lincoln penny, first introduced in 1909, was meant to honor one of America's greatest leaders. Over time, it's become one of the most collected coins in U.S. history. But what makes the 2017 D so special? Why would anyone pay 6 figures for something that's supposed to be worth 1 cent? The answer lies in what collectors call error coins, mistakes made during the minting process that escape into circulation. It's like a factory misprint that accidentally creates an artwork instead of a product. For the 2017 D, a handful of coins were struck with double dies, off-center prints, or misaligned designs. Some even have what's called a grease-filled die, causing missing letters or distorted details on Lincoln's face or the word Liberty. These errors make each coin a one-of-a-kind piece of history. And as any collector will tell you, rarity equals value. But it's not just errors that make this coin so valuable. Condition plays a huge role. Coins graded as mint state, untouched by circulation, can fetch astronomical prices. Imagine a coin struck perfectly, stored safely, and never scratched by another piece of metal. Those are the ones that collectors and investors fight over, sometimes paying the kind of money you'd expect for a high-end watch or luxury car. Now, here's where things get exciting. In recent years, the 2017 D Lincoln penny has caught the attention of top numismatists, the professionals who study and trade coins. Auctions have seen these coins climb past $200,000 when rare conditions are met. And in private sales, there are whispers of specimens valued well into the millions. Think about that. A coin minted less than a decade ago, potentially worth more than most people's annual income. It's the modern-day treasure hunt, hiding in plain sight. You might be wondering, how could I possibly know if I have one? The truth is, most people don't, until they look closely. The best way to start is to check the small details. Look for a clear D mint mark under the year 2017. Then examine Lincoln's face. the word liberty, and the motto, "In God We Trust." If any of those features appear doubled, faint, or slightly off-center, you may have something extraordinary. Under magnification, those subtle imperfections can reveal the difference between a regular penny and a life-changing discovery. And if you're sitting there thinking, what are the odds? Well, they're slim, but that's exactly what makes it thrilling. The people who found these coins weren't experts. They were ordinary individuals, retirees, hobbyists, even kids sorting through change. One story tells of a man in Colorado who found a 2017 D penny with an error on Lincoln's ear. He sold it at auction for tens of thousands of dollars. Imagine that kind of surprise, all from a coin you could find in your couch cushions. It's moments like that that remind us how wealth isn't always found where you expect it. Sometimes it's sitting in your palm. You just have to recognize it. But let's talk numbers for a second, because that's where reality sets in. A standard 2017 D penny in average circulated condition is worth just 1 cent. In near-perfect uncirculated condition, it might bring in $1 or $2. But an error coin? That's where the numbers explode. Depending on rarity and condition, prices can range from hundreds to hundreds of thousands. And, as we mentioned, some have reached $217,000 and counting. And here's the twist. These prices are still rising. As more collectors enter the market and pristine examples become harder to find, the value of these rare coins continues to climb. Think of it like vintage cars or classic watches. Once they're gone, they're gone. And that scarcity drives desire and price. You may be thinking, I should start checking every penny I get. And you should. Because here's the thing. Coins like the 2017 D serve as reminders that opportunity often hides in the smallest places. But there's also a quiet urgency to it. As time passes, these coins get lost, damaged, or melted down, which makes surviving examples even more precious. So what should you do if you think you found one? First, handle it carefully. Never clean a coin, as that can destroy its value. Store it in a soft holder and have it evaluated by a reputable grading company like PCGS or NGC. These organizations can confirm authenticity and assign a grade, which dramatically increases the coin's worth. And if it's verified as an error or high-grade specimen, congratulations! You could be sitting on a six-figure treasure. It's strange, isn't it? How something so small can carry such massive potential. How one coin can change your financial story. It's almost poetic. Lincoln himself once said, "The best way to predict your future is to create it." Well, perhaps in this case, the best way to create it is to check your pocket change. And while it's exciting to think about million-dollar pennies, it's also about something deeper. It's about awareness, recognizing value where others see none. That mindset alone is what separates those who seize opportunities from those who walk past them. So tonight, when you empty your wallet or count your spare change, take a moment to look closely. Who knows? That 2017 D penny in your hand could be your ticket to a wealthier tomorrow. Or maybe it's simply a reminder that fortune favors the observant. And if you've made it this far, you're already part of a growing community of people who refuse to let opportunities slip by. The next time someone laughs at you for checking your pennies, just smile. Because while they're busy doubting, you might just discover the next six-figure coin. So before you go, take a look through your jars, drawers, and pockets. Somewhere in that pile of copper coins, there could be a piece of history waiting for you. A 2017 D Lincoln penny worth up to $217,000, maybe even more. You never know. Your next cent could make you a millionaire. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more hidden coin treasures and rare finds that could change your life. Because in this world of overlooked wealth, every coin has a story, and one of them might just be yours.